Hello, my name is Robbie. I go by the pronouns he, him, and we are here to play session 3 of My Life with Master, which is a role-playing game by Paul Zega. We are going to start with just a quick round of introductions. I'll have the players who are all members of the Gauntlet community. I'll have them introduce themselves and also introduce their characters. And then when we get back around to me, I will introduce the master and do a very quick recap of where we are at this point, and we will get into the playing out of some scenes. And I'm just going to go left to right across my screen, and so we will start with Pearl.
Hello, I'm Pearl. I use she, her pronouns. In the game today, I'll be playing BuPu, who is one of the minions. BuPu will give her short introduction here. BuPu. Hello. BuPu has no good words, but other people have good words. Like, disregard what seems absurd and you might fail to understand. Which BuPu says yes. BuPu like candy. BuPu like Yana favorite for BuPu. BuPu master not always so good to BuPu, but is okay. So BuPu, say hello.
Okay, and Stentor, go to you next.
So I'm Stentor, and I am playing Handsome Hal, who is captivatingly beautiful, unless someone publicly criticizes some aspect of my appearance, and unable to show sadness, anger, or any other negative emotion unless nobody is looking at me. And so I was originally homely Hal, but I have been enhanced by Count Louis Auguste's machinations. And so I can be the PR person for the Enterprise here.
Okay, and Walter?
Hi, I'm Walter, he, him. I am playing Ekek. Ekek is a horrific bird monster who gives off an ungodly stench, but can fly. He's basically like humanoidish, but but has these featherless wings, and so that's Ekek. He can fly, and he's a monster, but he's just misunderstood.
Okay, and the master is somebody named Louis Auguste, and I, as the GM, will be playing Louis Auguste. He is interested in creating spectacles and is under the impression that he has a brilliant mind for the theater, for directing, and has some, let's just say, kind of far out ideas as to what a kind of these revolutionary new ideas for theatrical spectacle will entail. Safety does not seem to be a particular concern of his, and in our session last week, we found out that he had been trying to work on some type of complex trapeze machinery that he would incorporate into his theatrical spectacle. Something kind of went wrong with that, and some people were injured, and he was trying to not let that be a timely setback for him, but wanted to kind of get that machinery repaired as quickly as possible, and had sent Handsome Hal out to talk to journalists to make sure that they covered that story appropriately. He had sent BuPu with Ekek to try to find some new acrobats who could replace the injured ones. And so Ekek, who has the ability to fly unless it's raining, was luckily it was not raining on that particular day. And so Ekek was able to take BuPu off to a neighboring village and to meet with somebody named Loquar Vivant, who headed up a carnival that was kind of in the area, to try to see about whether Loquar had some acrobats, some trapeze artists who might be persuaded to come over to replace the injured ones in Louis Auguste's theater. So we're going to open then with a scene. BuPu, you have returned. The Loquar Vivant did not give you any acrobats, but sent a young member of the carnival over with you to kind of see exactly what it was that Louis Auguste was after. And so we're going to just move ahead and put you at a scene. We're going to be back at the amphitheater. You have returned from your mission and your conversation with Loquar Vivant. The amphitheater is abuzz with activity. There are people working vigorously to try to get that trapeze machinery put back together in some way. You will notice when you go in and look at the workers that Yana is who is a carpenter. That he is working alongside other carpenters to try to kind of put this machinery back together. And you walk in to the amphitheater, and Louis Auguste sees you and says, BuPu, nice to see that you've returned. Can you give me a report on your mission? Were you successful? We really, you can see that our machinery is getting quickly put back together, and we now are in pretty short order going to need some new acrobats to proceed with the show.
Quick question out of character. Is the young man from the carnival with me?
Yeah, I think the young man from the carnival is going to be kind of trailing behind you.
What's his name again?
No,
I looked in the keeper and I couldn't find it, but I also am really bad at Google Sheets, so I apologize.
And I'm trying to see.
Tomas.
What is it?
Tomas.
Yes, that sounds correct.
Okay,
Tomas.
So does Master see Tomas?
Yeah. Well, I think he could see him. I think, Tomas he's a young fellow. I think BuPu, you got the impression that Loquar, he was just looking for somebody somewhat, who wasn't busy to kind of go over with you. And Tomas seems like a fairly inexperienced kind of person.
Okay. I just want to acknowledge that he's there if I'm talking to the master, if he's standing right next to me, so it's not odd. Yeah, a stranger.
I think he follows you in. Tomas does look kind of nervous, not really sure, what he needs to say or you know, how to conduct himself.
Okay. So back into character then. Master, BuPu go over mountain, see show everybody in air, fly around, very exciting. Like Ekek, but no wings.
Okay. That sounds good. Yes.
And Lu, what was his name?
Loquar?
Yes. He not seem to like BuPu. Likes words, maybe. But he sent Tomas.
So
Very nice.
So Tomas, you checked him out. He's a good acrobat, aerial acrobat, somebody who can join our
low choir, no trust anything. But Tomas from low choir, you talk, I think.
and so this guy next to you is Tomas. He came back with you. I sent you to get some acrobats. You come back with just one person, and you're now telling me that this person, Tomas, is not even an acrobat?
BuPu small. BuPu cannot grab all people to bring. Loquar not understand BuPu. Loquar send Tomas. You, Tomas, talk. Go back, Tomas. Bring show.
BuPu. Not acceptable. I need human pendulums, and I need my human pendulums now. And Louis Auguste snaps his fingers and calls a couple of his bodyguards over and says, guards, take our guest, Tomas, and get him ready to try out some of these trapeze routines. BuPu, I know you told me he's not an aerial acrobat, but I don't know. He looks like a fit young fellow to me. We'll give him a try. And Tomas is like, no.
Master, in times of need, kindness is more than ever sweet. You talk, Tomas. Be nice. Tell him need people. He go get for master.
BuPu, I don't think you understand. Things need to move forward. You brought me somebody over. I'll talk to him some more, but I figure doesn't hurt to give him a try at the trapeze. We'll see what he's able to put together. And he has his guards. He says, guards, take him away.
But Loquar actor good. We want Loquar people. You must talk, Tomas.
BuPu,
no take Tomas. Talk, Tomas.
We'll talk to him. We'll talk to him some more, but we'll also see what he has. I mean, I need somebody up there. I need my human pendulums replaced. BuPu, I am not happy. You are on thin ice right now, my little tongue-tied doll.
BuPu try to help.
I have another possibility for you. I have some way where you might be able to work yourself back into my good graces after this failure of yours. I'm going to be sending a mission, a little embassy mission to the kingdom of Valhellion, which is a kingdom that has not been very nice to me. They've been spying on me. But Valhellion, I hear, has beautiful athletes. And I need you to go on this mission and find me some beautiful athletes from Valhellion and bring them over here. And this time, BuPu, I don't want another messenger. Okay, I want beautiful athletes who would be capable of getting up in this equipment and putting on a good show. Do you understand?
Yes, but people no listen to BuPu because BuPu has no good words.
Okay.
BuPu also have no strong. Send Ekek to
Okay.
forget people. BuPu looks with eyes.
Okay.
BuPu does.
BuPu. On this mission, Handsome Hal will be there. Maybe Handsome Hal can give you some good words. He also, Louis Auguste, takes out another book, nice leather-bound book, that has on it the title, Quotes That Move and Motivate. It's a book of motivational sayings. And he says, here, this might help you as well. So, you have Handsome Hal, you have that book of aphorisms I gave you last time, and now you have this book of motivational lines you can give to people. So I think between the three of those things, something you can get something generated. Okay.
What is past and could not be prevented should not be grieved for. BuPu do new mission.
Oh, you're not going to do the mission?
No, BuPu do new mission.
Okay.
What is past and could not be prevented should not be grieved for. BuPu move forward.
Okay. Okay. Very eloquent, BuPu. Thank you very much. Okay. The mission will leave tomorrow morning. So I get yourself rested and fed and be ready to set out tomorrow morning. And Louis Auguste then kind of turns on his heels and walks off. And there would be an opportunity in the aftermath of this. You are left alone, and you do have Yana there.
Yeah, I think I'd like to go over to talk to him, and I'm gonna mutter to myself as I am walking over to him. What is life? It's the flash of a firefly in the night. It's the breath of a buffalo in the wintertime. It's the little shadow which runs across the grass and loses itself in the sunset. But the coyote is always out there waiting and is always hungry. BuPu, no think good.
So you're saying this as you walk over to Yana?
Yeah, just muttering to her. She's been reading her book of aphorisms,
Right.
and has memorized some of them, and so she slips in and out, both in just even in her talking to herself.
Okay. So Yana, you see Yana, he's busily at work, taking some measurements, trying desperately, and you kind of see that he has a look of frustration on his face. And as you walk up, he doesn't, he's pretty focused on what he's doing. So, BuPu, what do you do?
If it's okay with you, can I have a bit of a treat in my pocket that we picked up on the way back to town?
Sure.
Okay. So BuPu goes up to Yana and tugs on the edge of his shirt a little bit. Yana?
Yes. I'm kind of busy here. Louis Auguste has given us strict orders that he needs this thing put together and ready to go within 24 hours.
But I divide and share an orange. It tastes just as good. And I take out the treat from my pocket to offer some to him.
Okay.
I'm very flustered because BuPu doesn't know what to do basically ever. So I'm just
Giving-
hamming up with him and wanting him to pay attention.
Okay. So you are going to, we'll go on and do the roll now. So reason minus self-loathing.
Okay. I have to figure out what all of those are at the moment. My self-loathing is 1. What is reason at the moment?
Reason is, I believe, 4.
So I have 3. So I roll 3 D4s, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I guess, and we don't count 4s, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so my score is 4.
Okay. And then the minion, or the connection, is fear minus reason. And fear is 4 and reason is 4. So that would be 0, but you always get to roll 1. So let me go here and I will do that. All right. So I'm rolling 1 and
I essentially have to win, right? Because you can't count a 4.
correct.
And I have a total of 4, and you only get 1 die.
Right. So yeah, so you are going to get you are going to have success here. Let me just kind of quickly
Right.
let me read this very quickly. Page 28. So you gain a point of love. And it says, if the minion's roll was successful, the scene is role played out to reflect incremental development of a shared emotional bond. So Yana takes your orange and he's had a kind of fretful look on his face, but you see him relax, and he says, now does Yana know you, or is this somebody who at this point BuPu has just kind of noticed? And
I think we've determined that like he's seen her around and recognizes her, but doesn't think of her as being particularly of note.
okay, yeah. So he says, "Thank you. What did you say your name was?"
BuPu.
BuPu. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate the orange, but I'd like to talk to you some more, but I've got a ton of work to do here right now. So maybe I'll be seeing you around. And he kind of turns around, and somebody else, one of the company says, Yana, come on, we gotta get this this structure back together.
Yesterday was wood, tomorrow will be ashes. Only today does the fire shine bright.
Yeah, and when you say that, Yana was turning away, and he hears that, and he says, I don't think I quite understand you, but it was nicely said, what you said. I'll be seeing you around. And he kind of goes back to what he was doing. Ekek, let's turn to you now. Last session, Louis Auguste had expressed concern about some. He thinks that this neighboring kingdom of Valhellion, which is like across the mountains, it's not the village that you were at. This kingdom of Valhellion, it's a little further than that village that you went to. But Louis Auguste last session expressed a concern that the newspaper of Valhellion had been reporting on some of his new spectacular theatric ideas and the machinery that he was kind of putting together. And it was being reported in pretty quick order. And he was convinced that there must be some type of spy that has been kind of finding out what Louis Auguste is up to at his amphitheater, and that this information has been leaked out. And Louis Auguste thinks that most likely the information was being sent through carrier pigeons, and so wanted you to kind of figure out what you could with respect to this. And Ekek, one of your connections is Arvis Duval, who is the individual who kind of operates who kind of is there tending to the carrier pigeons. He's kind of a postal service of sorts, right? That he takes care of the carrier pigeons as they come in and as they leave, and people can appear there if they need messages sent. And also, people are sending messages to him. So why don't we put us at? Does this seem reasonable? Just to put us at the pigeon place where Arvis is working. So Ekek, you arrived there. Arvis wears fairly plain clothes and a brimmed hat. It's all covered in this kind of white gray color. And part of that is so that if he has pigeon droppings on him, that they're not quite as noticeable. So he has like clothing that's kind of that color. You walk in on him, and he's there tending to his pigeons, and also kind of he has some desks that have I would imagine that he would have like little pieces of paper where people could write messages and then slip them in little cylinders that would get attached to the pigeon. So you kind of see a couple desks where he has like little tiny slips of paper and these little like cylinders that he keeps on there.
Yeah. So he's kind of like in a room, but where are the pigeons kept? Is he like in one office and the pigeons are somewhere else, or?
Yeah, I think I think he'd have one place where he kind of keeps the cylinders and the pieces of paper, and then we'll say that there's like a ladder that kind of goes up, and that that overhead he has this place where the pigeons can fly in and out, and he has cages and things like that are stored up there, and you can hear the pigeons up there.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think that
and I guess you could decide with your arrival, you could either arrive through one of the big openings up in that upper area. You could fly in there, which is where the pigeons would kind of fly in.
The pigeons are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you could walk in if you wanted to.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I think I want to first sort of start by walking in. I just like my wings are kind of folded behind my back, right? And I look monstrous. I have this hideous, twisted, monstrous Birdman kind of face, and my wings aren't that well hidden. But but I'm otherwise I look like a man, and I think I kind of want to like be taken seriously as a as a human right now, right? Which will probably fail horribly, but that's I do ultimately see myself as a man, and so yeah, so I'm gonna like walk in, and I say, "Hello, I am Ekek. Are you the Pigeon Man?"
Now, do you does Ekek know Arvis? Has he conversed with Arvis before?
I don't think so. I don't think Ekek's ever conversed with Arvis before, but I mean, I think he knew where the pigeons were kept, right? He knew that there was a pigeon, somebody who kept pigeons here, saw the pigeons fly in and out. But yeah, I don't. I mean, he's probably noticed Arvis, but I don't think he's ever gone up to him before. And maybe Arvis is. I don't know if Arvis has noticed Ekek before. Maybe only from a distance he spied him. I mean, I'm just curious how the people in the town actually see Ekek. Like, do you think they kind of like is someone they've like seen around? I think Ekek tries to keep to himself and keep out of town, but I'm imagining like people have like noticed him and whisper about that horrific Birdman that sometimes walks around, and people swear they've seen him actually fly around in the distance.
Yeah, that makes sense to me, and that people have a sense that Ekek does do some type of service for Louis Auguste, right? That that they would see Ekek occasionally kind of walking into Louis Auguste's palace or having conversations with him.
Okay, so it's known that he's a minion of Louis. Yeah. Okay, yeah. That sounds right.
Yeah, and that's a good question. Is Ekek drunk right now?
No. So his stench probably precedes him.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there is also, a pretty noticeable stench in this place as well. I mean, you've got like all of those pigeons there, right? So
I kind of like the idea that I just smell like a particularly foul, unclean pigeon house. And so like maybe at first he's like, boy, I need to clean the place. And then I walk in the door.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So Arvis kind of, he sees you and he says, can I help you?
I need to know who sends notes with you.
Who sends notes with me? People who need messages sent.
Valhellion. Who sent the note to Valhellion? Huh?
Lots of people send notes to Valhellion.
Yesterday, hurry! Someone sends a photograph to Valhellion. Who is it?
He looks kind of nervous now when you start, mentioning the photograph, and he says, I don't know what to say. What photograph are you talking about?
I'm gonna try and like threaten him. I'm gonna try and like freak him out. I'm gonna raise my wings and bare my talons and basically like scare him into telling me.
Okay. Let's do this as a roll. This is going to be the it's not violence, but it's villainy against the NPC opponent. So you're going to roll fear plus your self-loathing.
Okay. So
fear is 4.
That would be, so that's 7. All right. Let's see. So I'm going to clear the selected. Clear everything. All right. So I get 74. Bloop. Ooh, I only rolled 1 4. That's good. So I got, looks like a 13 is my total.
Yeah, I don't know that this is even gonna be. I'll go in and roll, but I just roll reason. So yeah, I only rolled 9. So with this, you are successful. He is going to cower. So this results in an increase in your self-loathing. Okay.
Okay.
Success results in an increase of your self-loathing. What does that bring your self-loathing to?
That is 4.
Okay.
So it's equal to reason right now. My self-loathing minus love is equal to reason.
Okay.
That's what you were looking for.
Yeah, because if ever, yeah, there's something where if your self-loathing is greater than love plus reason, there's something else that is triggered. So with this, you have the success. So you know, Arvis is cowering, and he says, "Please, please, I know you come from Louis Auguste, and you know, I yes, somebody has come in and they needed messages sent to Valhellion. I'm just, you know, I just operate the pigeon business here. You know, what messages people want sent, what messages people receive, that's really not my business. I mean, I knew that there was an agent of Valhellion who kind of came to me, but I mean, what do you want of me?
Name them. Where can I find them?
He says, well, I don't know exactly where you will find him. And I don't really know him. I mean, he gives me his name. He says that his name is Smeeth. Smeeth.
Ah, Smeeth. And how do I see Smeeth? What does he look like?
Well, he's hairy and he's kind of short and squat, and he has a black beard. And he's a nice guy. I don't see him much, but yeah, he's come in here occasionally, and I don't think he means anything, you know, evil by what he does.
I must find Smeeth. Where can I find Smeeth?
Well, I don't know where he is, and he. I mean, I'm being completely honest with you. He comes in irregularly, but yes, past couple days he's come in when I'm opening, and he has me usually send a few pigeons off to Valhellion, and he made me promise I wouldn't tell anybody. But you know,
He'll be back tomorrow, and you won't tell him that I came. Right? And I hold talent up to his neck under his chin, and I say, "You will not tell him." Yes.
okay.
And I want
Yeah, he's cowering. I mean, he you know, you see tears welling up in him. He's like completely frightened by you.
Okay. For fun and just to move this game along, I want to go ahead and make this another roll to a villainy, like make this an act of villainy, just because I actually want to see what happens when we get the heart revealed. Is that cool?
Yeah, you can do that. I'm also curious as to whether you're going to try to make an overture at some point because
yeah, actually, yeah.
I don't know how that's going to go, but yeah. So I mean, what other villainy do you want to accomplish here? You're gonna.
Oh, I'm just thinking like this would like first I got him to tell me my act of villainy was to threaten him to tell me who it was. Now it's an act of villainy to like convince him to like not spill the beans that I'm after this guy.
Okay.
So that would be like kind of a separate action, we could say.
Okay.
So that would still be, let's see. So my self-loathing's higher, so I actually get 8 dice now. Is that right? I'm like, I get better at this. I get momentum.
Yes.
So this time I got 14.
Okay. And then I don't think that it's even possible here, but I'll go on and roll my. I only got a measly 1. Yeah. So you have another success. So that means your self-loathing is going to increase again.
Yes. So now my self-loathing is 5, and love plus reason is only 4.
Right. So at this point, if the roll would ever result in a minion self-loathing growing greater than love plus reason, that does not happen. Your self-loathing, right? A revelation of horror and consequences in the environment is triggered instead. Okay. So we play this out just as if the self-loathing were gained, but your self-loathing is actually gonna.
So it doesn't actually go up.
Correct.
Let's see. And the minion misses the next scene. Okay.
And instead of that scene, the player of the minion narrates a scene of horror among NPCs with 2 restrictions. Neither the master nor other PC minions can be part of the scene, and no NPC carrying love for one of the PC minions can be killed. It is as if the horrific psychological forces within the minion have overcome their containment and bled out into the environment. So I mean, it's almost, like a, we would cut to some other scene. And, my understanding is that usually your minion isn't even involved in that scene, but it would be just some other revelation of horror in the environment that would be manifested.
Interesting. So it's not like a scene of horror that my minion does. Let's see. The player, that would be me, narrates. Let's see, of the minion narrates a scene of horror among NPCs with 2 restrictions. Neither the master nor other PC minions can be part of the scene. So my minion could be part of the scene, but not master or the others. Right. And no NPCs carrying love for PC minions can be killed. So I can't kill other people's connections. It is as if the horrific psychological forces within the minion have overcome their containment and bled out into the environment. So, okay. So it seems like it could happen a lot of ways, but it seems like something about my rage and anger is like having a big impact on the environment, and that's something I can narrate.
Right.
So
yeah, and in terms of this scene, you get your success again. So Arvis would say, absolutely, I will never, reveal your. Right, you've asked him to keep this a secret, right? So yeah, he's absolutely in agreement with that. And it's because of his fear of you, right? I mean, he is visibly shaken, and quaking in his boots.
Okay. I mean, I'm thinking something that seems to follow naturally would be after I take the break from a scene as required, I then come back and maybe narrate what I do to Smeeth when Smeeth arrives. Does that sound reasonable?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So we remind me of that, but yeah, that we will get a quick scene with Smeeth when you will see him arriving. To wrap this up with Arvis, are you going to make any kind of overture now that you've kind of completely crushed him in terms of the fear? Is Ekek going to? leave it at
Yeah,
that?
I did have an overture in mind. So what I was thinking was, I mean, it's. I get the feeling that based on hitting that horror revealed, maybe we should like cut there and then come back to the horror revealed. But I did have an idea for an overture to Arvis as well, which maybe we could do after the horror revealed, kind of like
Okay.
as a.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. So we are. Okay. Let's go to Handsome Hal, and Handsome Hal, you are being sent on a mission to Valhellion. At this point, it's getting kind of late in the day, but you know that tomorrow morning you're going to be leaving on a mission to Valhellion. Louis Auguste last session told you that you needed to get an audience with the ruler of Valhellion and try to do something to put a stop to the kind of spying that has been happening. Is that correct? That you need to kind of go there and put an end to the spying. And he really wants you to do this by being angry and tough when you go there. Okay. And so he says, you are to kind of threaten, that this type of spying behavior will not stand. And if it does not cease immediately, the fury of Louis Auguste will be felt. Okay. Now that mission is going to set off the next morning, but you have an opportunity if you would like a scene with one of your connection. There would be time here at the end of the day. You have some downtime that he's given to you to prepare for the mission. So Stentor, if you would like Handsome Hal to approach either of his connections, you may make the approach. Just let me know if you would like to.
So last time I got to talk to Brigitte, and I don't think I really have an excuse to talk to her again. So this might be a good chance for me to go and talk to Plain Pete, my brother. And so I think what I want to talk to Plain Pete about is that, because he refused the
enhancements
from Louis Auguste because we were identical twins before this happened. And I think that I still feel a little weird about it because I know he doesn't approve, and so I think I'm getting sent on this mission to Valhellion, and neither I nor Plain Pete have ever left this village our entire lives, and so I think Handsome Hal is pretty excited just about the opportunity to travel, even though he's a little worried about how he'll execute his mission. And so I think I want to go talk to Plain Pete and kind of show him where I'm going in life, and show that like it's not all bad working for Louis Auguste, and maybe I didn't make the wrong choice like he thought I made.
Okay, what line of work do you imagine that Plain Pete is in?
I'm gonna say he's a ditch digger.
Okay.
Or actually, since we've already established the cemetery as like a significant location, just to wrap it all in, maybe he is like the grave digger.
Okay.
That works at the cemetery. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds like a nice place for a scene. I mean, it's kind of getting late in the day, but you would know at this point.
Nice and spooky.
Yes.
Cemetery.
Sun is starting to set. The shadows are long. You see that one mausoleum that has the two sphinxes that you had mentioned in your conversation with Birgitta, the journalist. And yeah, you see that. Let's say that as you walk into the cemetery, you don't immediately see plain Pete, but then you notice off to the side some dirt flying out of a hole that's being dug into the into the ground, and so somebody is kind of actively digging a deep grave, and is kind of out of sight because they're kind of below ground level at this point as they're digging in there.
Yeah, so I think Hal recognizes that as Pete's work, and so walks on over, kind of walks around to the other side from where the dirt pile is, and kind of looks down into the grave, and just calls out, "Hey, Pete, it's Hal."
And the the dirt stops flying out of the hole, and you see Pete's face, kind of that looks up out of there and says, "Hal, it's been a while since I've seen you.
I know it has, and I'm sorry. I've been busy with my work, but I wanted to stop by because I'm gonna actually be out of town for a little while. The Count is sending me to Valhellion. It's I'm pretty excited about it, but I won't be around for a while, so I thought I'd come and say hi, see how things were before I left." And Handsome Hal, when he's saying, he's saying this, and they're like, "Oh, I'm just going out of town for work," but he, kind of looks a little satisfied with himself about it.
Yeah, and Plain Pete says, "Well, aren't you special? You get your lovely enhancements and get yourself into the service of Louis Auguste, boy, and now what do? You come over here to brag about the fact that you get to go someplace special?"
Pete, come on, you can't have a little joy for your brother? I remember when we were kids and we would look at those maps and we would talk about how if we could fly, we would go to Valhellion or all these other places.
Okay. Yeah. Saying that seems like a great place here for the role. Kind of talking about the, times past and how the two of them like to kind of, dream about going to distant places. So this is, so you're going to roll reason minus self-loathing.
Okay. So reason is 4, self-loathing is 5.
Okay, so you get to roll.
I get just 1.
You get to roll 1.
Okay.
And I will get to roll 1.
Well, I got a 4, which means 0. So it doesn't matter what you roll there.
Well, I could roll a 4 as well. So
okay.
Then that would,
okay, ties go in my favor.
Well, the tie, something interrupts.
Different.
Yeah, something interrupts.
Tie's different than a loss. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So now you still get a. You failed, but you still do get love, right?
I believe so, because that's what happened with Brigitte. I got love despite failing.
Because you have demonstrated your humanity regardless of the outcome, but you do get a point of self-loathing. And what is?
I'm maxed out on self-loathing already. So
what is your self-loathing right now?
It's 5.
Okay, it's 5. Okay,
that's the max, right?
I don't know that it has a
I
max.
thought we had said at some point there was a max of 5 on it. Maybe I'm totally making stuff up. I just got back from Origins and played 9 different games in 3 days. So
Now it says if a roll would ever result in a minion's self-loathing growing greater than love plus reason, but your love plus reason now is 6, right?
Okay. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what it was because I only had 1 love before,
Right.
so my max was 5 before. My
But now
max is 6 now, which
Yes.
I've gone up to because I got the extra love. Okay, that's where I was getting that 5 from.
Okay. Yeah. So you fail in this, and I mean you do get the love for it, and you know he Plain Pete just says, you know, those were great days, but you know you've become something different. You know, and you know now here I am, you know, working my tail off in I will admit a less than glamorous line of work, you know, and you know how, you know, I suppose I wish you the best, but you've become a different person. And Plain Pete kind of turns his back on you then and continues to kind of shovel away at the grave.
I think Hal says, I'll like leans in and kind of waves goodbye and says, I'll bring you a souvenir, and then walks around behind the dirt pile where Pete can't see him and like sheds 1 tear.
Okay. All right. We're going to fast forward then to the next morning. Hal and BuPu, I think you would be setting out from the front of the palace. You know, you have some of Louis Auguste's kind of scouts that are going to go with you. You have some sturdy horses and mules that are kind of outfitted there. This is going to be like a 3-day journey to get to Valhellion. But when you kind of appear there, it all looks like, you know, things are set up and are going to, you know, I mean, you are equipped the way you would need to be to make this journey. I want to go.
I think Handsome Hal has an especially beautiful horse to ride on. I think he needs to have that.
Yeah, kind of this, nice white, majestic horse that's kind of set up there.
Some ribbons in its mane.
And I imagine, BuPu, you're put on a kind of just a kind of sturdy mule, sure of foot.
Yeah, I imagine actually that BuPu and the mule, she probably rides the same mule every time. It's like the one that nobody needs. It's a little bit small because she's small and not very heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And so she would like recognize it and pat its neck like familiarly, right?
Yeah. And I think, you know, we will be fast forwarding and just say that you know the journey to Valhellion is uneventful, right? That y'all were well equipped. The scouts that are kind of sent with you know the territory well, and so they kind of get you to get you over there without a hitch. Ekek, let's do very quickly a scene with you back at and you although you do not know it currently, Ekek, you probably will be going to Valhellion as well. But let's do the scene the next morning first, where you are going to be waiting for Smeeth to appear.
Sorry, I forgot I wasn't muted.
Yeah, that was going to be my scene next. So we're going to do. Do you want to do the horror revealed?
Yeah, let's do that. And then if you want to make an overture to Arvis, you can do that.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right.
So let's do the horror revealed first.
Revealed. Yeah, and I have an idea for the overture scene. I mean, I think it's technically your prerogative to set the scene, but if you'll let me suggest one that I think will follow from the horror, then I'll do that too. So yeah, I think that Ekek is waiting, like hidden up in a tree, waiting for Smith to arrive. And sure enough, this squat man, who's rather hairy, a big black beard, and he has I think he's got like a maybe even some camera equipment with him. He looks like a photographer. If I could take the license to describe Smeet, I'm planning to kill him anyway. So just because, hey, might as well have that happen in this game. And so, yeah, so he shows up and out in the front door, Ekek swoops down and grabs him with his claws and flies up and carries Smeet up over a field just outside of town. And Smeet is screaming, "Ah!" And there maybe a few people in town who see him get carried off, and Ekek is threatening Smeet, saying, "Tell me, who are you working for? Who are you?" I don't know. Do you think Smeet would reveal anything?
Yeah, I think Smith would reveal that. I mean, he's terrified, clearly, right? I mean, you're kind of flying off with him, and he's pretty much in that state is helpless. He will reveal. He'll say, "Please, let me down. I'm working for Queen Sophia, none other than the ruler of Valhellion. If you put me down, I'm sure that she would do something for you. For you have me at your whim right now, and please, I'm simply serving my queen."
You're making this so hard because I have to do something horrible. I should have asked you, Darby. Now, all right. So I'm gonna say that to carry the fiction through here and put a horrific end on this, I'm gonna say that, like, I have heard of the Queen mentioned by Louis Auguste, and he hates her.
Yes.
And that I am just sickened by this name because I've heard all of these horrible things about this queen. Probably most of them untrue, but I don't know that. And I say, "Ah, you are vile! You are vile! Ah, we will show you all!" And then I drop him, and he falls, plummeting. Play the Falling Man soundtrack that you hear in every movie. Ah, dong. And he
with a
horrible sound as he hits the ground, and he's just like laying there sprawled with his camera off to the side, his back broken, and he is dead.
Yeah, and maybe some of the townspeople have seen this, and they're just like staring in horror at what they've just seen, this man falling from the sky.
I have a sort of weird overture scene that I could do with Arvis as well, if that I'll just throw out, which is, I'm thinking, like, when I swooped down, that it freaked out a bunch of pigeons, and that as the pigeons panicked, they were like trying to flee the pigeon coop, and some of them actually got like stuck in kind of like wedged up in the upper rafters of the pigeon coop, where they are like, and they're like, there's like, you know, at least one pigeon that's like badly injured, and it's like flailing, its like wing is stuck and probably a little bit broken, and it's like squawking in agony. And after kind of like circling around for a minute and catching his breath and sort of feeling a little guilty that he just like killed someone in his rage, I think that you know, and kind of feeling this like thing about like men just like use birds and destroy them and have no respect for creatures, and they don't see the humanity in me. And then I hear this like pigeon squawking, and I go down, and I basically like fly down to this precarious part of the roof where I can save the pigeon, and then I take it down to Arvis and show it to him, and I'm like, will you please mend its wing?
Okay, let's do the roll. So you're going to roll reason minus your self-loathing.
Let's see. That would be 0.
So you get to roll 1.
Okay.
And I will get to roll 1.
So I'll clear it and roll 1. I got a 4, so that's a Zippo for me.
And I got a 3. So, love does increase by 1. If the minion fails the roll, you get a point of self-loathing. But is that going to increase? Self-loathing is going to be greater than love plus reason. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I think it. My interpretation of the rules is that it's basically capped at like love plus reason. Although
Right.
now that my love went up,
Correct.
my love plus reason went up. So now it can go up. So my self-loathing actually does go up now.
Okay. Yeah, and so that happens, and you do get the point of love, and you know, Arvis takes the pigeon from you, and he my sense is that with the failing of the roll is that he maybe didn't see you take Smeeth off, but filling the role, somebody has told him, you know, has kind of reported what had happened, and says, you know, so he's kind of looking at you, you know, and saying, you're a monster. I mean, you may care for pigeons, but what they said, somebody said that you carried Smeeth off, and he seemed like such a nice guy. I'm disgusted. You're muted.
You can see my expression. That must have been great. I'd say, Ekek, not a monster. Ah! And I turn around and I run outside and I fly away.
Okay. Ekek, you're gonna get a little bit later in the day. It'll still be the morning. You are gonna get a message from Louis Auguste that there is a mission that has been sent off to Valhellion, and Louis Auguste in the message will say, I know that you have helped to deal with that spy, but there is more work to be done when it comes to Valhellion. I have an embassy that is currently en route, please fly to them, accompany them, and offer them the muscle that I know you can, unleash when it is needed. And in this mission, you will see Handsome Hal and BuPu, who are off with some of my scouts to continue to take care of this problem that we have with Valhellion.
Okay.
Okay.
Ekek. Yes, Ekek will go.
Okay. So and Ekek, you will find them shortly thereafter. You'll be able to accompany them. So we're going to have some scenes in Valhellion. Why don't we, before we do that, take maybe about 5-minute break? Does that sound good? Okay. So my time, it's coming up on about 10:30 right now. So I'll be back here in about 10:35. Okay.
So Stentor, the pop-up for Robbie. Oh, there you are. There's the real Robbie. Your little like icon, Robbie, is like you looking over a book and kind of staring right at the camera. And when I first like looked at it, I thought it was like actually you, like kind of looking up over a book at the camera for a moment. I was like, oh wait, no, that's just Robbie's icon. Pardon me if I snack a little bit while we're playing. I'll try and put it on mute so you don't have to hear me crunching my food. Robbie, I have a rules question. I know there's these special dice with intimacy, desperation, and sincerity. Do those only come up in rolls between the master and the minions? I'm not sure I'm clear on when those are used.
I think that those can be used. I don't know that it specifies. The example that he uses when he starts getting into those is a kind of master minion relationship scene, but I don't know that the rules exclude them being used in other just says that the mechanics involving those dice are intended to reflect impact on conflict resolutions arising specifically from ways a character influences the emotional responses of the opposing party. So that leaves it, doesn't have to necessarily be the master.
This is interesting. I'm actually seeing this now. Because only one of these dice can be assigned into a single conflict, participants are always given the option of escalating their role play to the emotional context associated with a larger size die, thereby causing a prior allocation of a smaller die to the opposing side to be revoked. And the master can never get D8. So if I'm understanding that right, then it means that, like, let's say that, for example, I was in an interaction with the master, and you said, oh, the master is doing some kind of thing like intimacy, it's like starts like grooming, Ekek, for example, I don't know. And then the master would get an extra D4, and then I could say, well, I'm going to show how Ekek is like desperate,
Correct.
Role play that. Then I would get the D6, the master would lose the D4.
Correct.
And then
and the master would not be able to trump that, right? Because he can't get the sincerity. So if you've kind of escalated it to the desperation level at that point, you would get that die. Yeah, and so you would get to, in that case, roll a D6 that would get kind of added to whatever you amass through the D4. That's a kind of interesting mechanic because, like, as I say, first of all, with sincerity, which is the highest level, his explanation, he kind of admits that he can't explain it very well, and then kind of hand waves it saying, you'll know it when you see it, right? When somebody but I guess that my understanding of the sincerity is that if the minion was just being completely honest and transparent, right? And was using that kind of, right? It's showing genuine concern and feelings for the other person. And so some type of showing of that kind of vulnerability would get the sincerity dice. Okay. Before moving along, I just saw that BuPu wanted a quick scene with Tomas. Pearl, do we want to do that real quick before you leave?
So I was actually just typing in. I was wondering, I have not understood those 3 extra dice. I've like looked at them several times and they've just been like, nope, don't get it. Is there something I could have rolled? I'm going to delete because I started typing. I'm going to say it out loud. Something I could have rolled when arguing with the master about Tomas. This is sort of, if so, maybe I could do a flashback scene to establish having talked to Tomas on the journey. But like a roll using sincerity when I was like pleading with the master to not take Tomas away and make him try to be an acrobat, but to like let him do what he was sent to do. Because she was definitely being sincere and like concerned for Tomas' well-being, because she knows he's not an acrobat and has no power in the situation.
Right. Yeah. I think possibly, or maybe it would have been desperation, an emotional effort to provoke a more favorable outcome through sheer emotional distress.
I think, I mean, either one, right? Like the emotional distress would have come out of her caring for Tomas because, like, she's less concerned with the master being displeased with her because I think she's used to it at this point. Like, not that it wouldn't be terrible, but she's kind of like resigned to her lot in life to some degree, probably.
Right.
But like, if she and Tomas on the journey over established any, like, she almost no one's kind to her, right? People often don't even acknowledge her presence. But like, she had to have a journey with someone. That means she actually had to spend time with someone consistently for a while, which she doesn't get to do very often.
Right.
So if he was nice to her at all, I think she would have tried to make an overture, you know, of love, not even necessarily romantic love, but I'm guessing if he's nice to her, she probably would like develop feelings. And then when he gets taken away by the guards, that she would like really want to stop that. I don't know if it's sort of too late to put a lot of this into play, but like,
yeah,
and kind of, it all happened so fast.
Yeah, and the other thing that's confusing me is that there's, excluding the end game situation, putting that aside, there's not really roles that you do with a minion, with a minion that, I mean, because that was not a case where you would be trying to avoid a command, right, that the master had been given. There's not really, like with the formula, there's not like, okay, there's not a formula for a minion directly taking action or trying to persuade the master.
But there is one, right, for a minion to like try to help another minion. Is there one for a minion to help an NPC? This is, as I wrote in the chat, why I needed my note cards, because I had like all the different types of roles on note cards and they're all at home. I apologize. But
no, it just says minions can provide aid to each other.
Is there a defying the master role? I mean, like, there should be some way for me to like mouth off to him, right? And like risk consequences, I assume.
I mean, the only one that I see is to defy a command of the master, right? So when
Okay.
the master's saying do this, right, there is the formula where if you want to kind of try to resist that, you can do that.
Right, but he's not commanding me in that situation. He's commanding the guards.
Yeah, because the other stuff is violence against NPC. I mean, unless you consider the master one of the NPC opponents.
I mean, technically, I suppose. No, I can go with whatever the actual game mechanics are. I just wasn't sure. I would like for BuPu to have like some sort of interaction with someone that's not them being baffled by why she can't talk, which would imply like maybe they had spent a little time with her and already knew that, and they could have an interaction where like she still can't talk very well, but instead of questioning that, they're actually trying to find out her meaning.
Well, and so I was wondering if you wanted, like, because the other thing is that with your connections are not limited to just the two that you start off with.
Yeah.
You know, at any point in the game, you can say, "Oh, I want to establish a connection with this NPC."
I was kind of eyeing Tomas for that.
Yeah.
Based on us having taken the journey.
Yeah. So you know what we could say is a very quick scene, maybe in the evening before the day that you're setting out.
Okay.
If you wanted to have an opportunity to go and check in on Tomas to see what has transpired with him.
Sure. Can we just sort of assume that because we've taken the journey, we have at least some level of familiarity? So that when I go to see what happened to him, if I talk to him, like he knows who I am and he knows that I don't speak well, and like I could interact.
Yeah, no, I think Tomas would be kind of picking up on the fact that you have difficulties with expression.
Verbal expression, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we could do a quick scene where I go to, I don't know where do you envision that he's been confined?
Well, let's say that he's been. They have a kind of dormitory where people, the performers and people that are kind of working on the amphitheater or performing in the amphitheater would kind of be in this dormitory area, which you would know very well, and so you see Tomas, on his. I just see him on a chair, kind of in the corner, and looks very kind of confused and looks very rattled.
Okay. So I'm gonna walk up to him. Tomas?
And Tomas looks at you and says, "I don't understand how I could have wound up at this place." And
sorry.
Well, you may be sorry, but you're part of Louis Auguste. I'd hardly heard of him before, just rumors, but he's a monster.
Master is not. I tried to warn Tomas when we are walked together. I am sorry. I tried to tell Master Tomas no fly. Master does not. Can BuPu help Tomas?
Okay, let's with this go with the roll now and see how this will play out. So you're gonna roll reason minus your self-loathing.
Okay.
Reason is 4.
And my self-loathing is still 1, right? Yeah.
Okay, so you'll roll 3. You can just clear.
Wait, what? Okay. There we go. So I got a 7.
That's a very good roll. Yeah, and
no 4s at all.
Okay, so Tomas looks at you, and I mean, you see him, crying a little bit, but trying not to, right? Trying to hold it in, but and Tomas looks at you and says, what do you think I should do now?
BuPu. Tomas no fly, right?
I can't do those routines. I mean, they started showing me what was entailed. It's dangerous.
Tomas would be hurt. Yes?
Yes, I refused. I mean, they beat me a little bit when I did, but there's no way I'm going to climb up in those trapeze. And not only is it dangerous up there, but the whole structure looks awful.
Is BuPu try to find sneaky way for Tomas?
Sneaky way, like a way to
Sneak
escape.
away.
Do you know such a way?
BuPu knows, but Master unhappy. Master very not, but BuPu no want Tomas hurt.
Can you show me? You could try to explain, but I don't know that I could follow your directions.
BuPu in morning goes far, but nighttime dark. BuPu comes here, Tomas comes here. When no one look. He's very
Tonight?
quiet. Must
Tonight?
be very quiet.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And BuPu will try.
Okay.
BuPu does not know if it will work, but BuPu will try.
Okay. So we will leave it with that. So, we'll just assume that you set up a little rendezvous. I don't think that Louis Auguste would be imagining that this was what BuPu would be spending time doing in the evening. And you give some instructions or kind of show the way to Tomas. Is that
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to sneak him out, like out of the back of the manor, so he can run away.
okay?
Like he's the first person who's been close to me in a long time, and I really genuinely don't want him to get hurt. And sneaking is my specialty.
Okay.
So
Yeah. So and you, I would say you sneak him out, and in the darkness you see him kind of going off and says, thank you, BuPu. And we'll just kind of cut it there with that scene. And you will get a point of love, and you should just add Tomas.
I just did. I just put Tomas from the circus
Yeah.
because I don't think it needs a bigger
Okay.
explanation, but
And he may or may not come back. I mean, maybe he'll get caught. We'll see what happens to Tomas. So we're gonna fast forward then, and you all 3 days of a journey over the mountains. You come to Valhellion. I don't think any of you have seen Valhellion before. You've all certainly heard of Valhellion because Louis Auguste will frequently rant and rave about, how awful this kingdom is. It's ruled by Queen Sophia Clarissa. And as you enter the city, it's in the mountains. It clearly looks like a wealthy kingdom in the mountains. Strong stone buildings, and higher up above the village, you see this nice sturdy castle that is overlooking everything. And the road kind of leads you initially, kind of into the town of Valhellion. Stentor, let me ask you this: when Handsome Hal first walks into Valhellion, what sign does Handsome Hal see that really suggests that Sophia is a benevolent ruler? Somebody who really cares for the people of this village.
Mm-hmm. I think there are a lot of children around. And so it suggests that people find the country safe enough to let their children play outside and stuff. Because I think back where we come from, there's, parents are much more protective of their children. They're worried about them getting snatched away to work for Louis Auguste, or, harmed by his minions, for example, being dropped from high up in the air, if they do something, that upsets the count. Whereas here, there's just kids running in the streets, throwing balls around and doing kid stuff.
Okay. And Walter, what does Ekek see walking into the village that demonstrates that Valhellion is either not a fan of Louis Auguste, or that Valhellion is in an antagonistic relationship with Malvonia or Louis Auguste?
Well, there's like a town watch by the gate, and on the gatehouse kind of door that leads into the area where the guards live, there's a painting that is clearly of Louis Auguste. It's kind of a crude painting, but it like has his like signature robe or whatever on, right? It's like clearly meant to be like a mocking little painting of him. And the guards, in their idle time, they use it for practice with throwing daggers and shooting crossbow bolts.
The image of Louis Auguste. Okay. And Pearl, I just saw, so when you walk into the village, Pearl, you wanted a short scene with Hal and Ekek, maybe as you're just getting into the village. What does BuPu say to her companions as you're walking into the village.
So I think BuPu at least tries to like rally them to come talk to her for a minute, like to indicate that she really wants to say something, and then you all can decide how you respond to that. But
So Handsome Hal, what do you do? BuPu's kind of gesturing to you to come
Yeah,
over.
I'll go over, talk with her.
Okay, and Ekek?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. I'm imagining that, there are times when we're on the, on the ride in where, Ekek will ride along beside BuPu.
Okay.
okay, so Ekek, Hal, BuPu went on mission before, and BuPu is good for sneak and for look, not for talk. You know, BuPu words are not good. And now BuPu here again to get Tomas almost hurt because BuPu no have words. Master send BuPu, but BuPu is not for this. Hal, Ekek, you are good. Hal has many words. Ekek very strong. Can BuPu just look? You will help. BuPu no want to hurt people.
And Hal kind of looks at them both and he's like, well, I was thinking I might need like a good cop, bad cop kind of routine. I don't think I'm cut out to be the bad cop. But, Ekek and BuPu, would you be able to kind of be the bad cop when we talk to them?
Ekek's always bad. Ekek's a monster.
Ekek no monster. BuPu
Everyone
like Ekek.
says I'm a monster.
Ekek fly. Magic. Beautiful. BuPu wish for wings to fly like Ekek.
Like Ekek?
BuPu think Ekek beautiful. BuPu wishes to be like Ekek. No monster. No monster, Ekek.
No. Ekek's confused. Oh. You think Ekek beautiful?
BuPu see Ekek
Really?
every day. Ekek flies high above all. Ekek's wings so big and strong. Ekek not small and stupid like BuPu.
Ekek is strong. Ekek is strong. Ekek will protect BuPu. No worries, BuPu. I
See?
am beautiful to BuPu.
Yes,
I
no
turn to
monster.
Hal and say, I am beautiful to BuPu.
That's very good, Ekek. I'm glad that you are learning some self-esteem. But we do have to figure out how we're going to complete the mission.
BuPu,
And
no bad cop. No one fear BuPu. BuPu small and strange, and BuPu no have words, and BuPu cannot be bad cop, but BuPu can look ahead for how to find people.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
If we don't do, Master will be mad at us. BuPu no want Ekek or Hal get hurt.
No, I don't think we'll get hurt, but we need to make sure that we convince them.
Okay. Hal, you know a plan?
Yeah,
What BuPu
yeah.
look for?
Well, we need to get an audience with the ruler here. So we need to find someone like the clerk or something that sets up those appointments.
Yeah, and I think, you know, at this point, you know, you talked about the guardhouse. You know, at this point, a couple of the guards of Valhellion notice you, and they walk up and they say, can we help you? We don't get many people coming from the direction that you came from. You know, you came from the road that leads to the kingdom of Count Louis Auguste.
Yes, and we would like to speak to your leader on behalf of the good count.
Okay, so you are coming from Count Louis Auguste. Are you familiar with the fact that Queen Sophia is not exactly on good terms with, as you say, the good count?
Yes, in fact, that's exactly the issue that we're hoping to clear up on this mission.
Okay.
We think there's a lot of room to improve relations between our two countries, and that's why we are here. But we'll need to talk to the Queen in order to make that happen.
Okay. Me and my companion will escort you. I don't know if Queen Sophia will be so kind as to give you an audience, but I can at least escort you to the castle. And with that, the guard will kind of you know, point you to the way and says, "Go up this road, and we'll see."
Thank you.
So yeah, the guard and the companion kind of take you up towards the castle. You know, outside you still are on your horses and your mules, but outside the castle they have the stable where you can kind of dismount, and the guard kind of talks to one of the guards up at the castle to kind of inform him of you know, who you are and what your desire is, and you know, you get kind of passed to that guard of the castle, and says, "Please follow me. I will send somebody to announce your presence to Queen Sophia, and we'll await her response." And let me ask this question, Ekek. Are you drunk right now, or are you sober?
I'm sober. I'm stinking up a storm. Yeah, I smell like the latrines following me in.
Okay, so the guard as the guard of the castle turns and looks at you, Ekek, and says, "I really think that you should stay here in the stable. That seems to be more like the place where you belong."
Can I roll to help? And if I succeed, I've brought a little flask of like some very strong alcohol that I can give to him.
Okay, yeah, we could do that. Let me just see very quickly what Ekek, when you get that comment about the when you get the comment from the guard about belonging in the stable, what is your reaction at that point?
Yeah, Ekek is a bit upset and says, I am a man, not a horse.
But he's saying, I don't know what you are, but I am not going to take the blame for leading you into the castle. And BuPu, what you have a flask of alcohol?
I think like I've noticed for whatever reason, there seems to be a connection between drunkenness and certain odoriferous qualities of Ekek. And I don't think I know why or what it means, but I see him drinking fairly often, and I have brought some along in case he might need it. I don't think I really have put it together all that well, but like maybe I could take him aside and be like, try to reassure him that the guard doesn't know what he's talking about and give him the alcohol that I see him drinking around the manor and see if that will help.
Yeah, and I don't think we need to roll for that. I mean, you're in a well-equipped, little group here, and so Ekek, BuPu, somewhat on the sly shows you a flask.
Yeah, it's must be some of Valhellion's best whiskey, or aquavit, whatever they have here. And yeah, I think Ekek is like, they do not know how to treat a man here like a man. I hate it here. I want to go back to the Count's. I just want to have a drink and relax. So much work now.
Guards no see Ekek like BuPu see Ekek, but BuPu know you like drink, so maybe this help. Listen.
Thank you, BuPu. Thank you. I feel better.
That's good.
I want to go and see Queen, like a human being goes to see the Queen. I want to go in like you and Hal.
And the guard turns to Hal and says, "Is it really necessary that we take your companion to the Queen? His smell was atrocious. It seems to be getting better now, but his manners also seem to leave something to be desired."
Yes, we came as a party, and we wish to see the Queen as a party. And I don't think it's good diplomacy for you to be insulting the scent or manners of people from another country.
And the guard says, "Oh, I did not mean to be insulting, but I would give you this advice. I think if you do go in with your two companions, I would have them maybe take the back seat and you do the speaking. Queen Queen Sophia is very kind and very generous, but I don't really know exactly how she's going to react to your strange companions that you come here with.
Yes, well, we'll see what the queen thinks when we see the queen.
Okay, so he's going to say very well, and he takes you in, and he says he takes you to a nice room. It's a little kind of lounge waiting room, and he says, "Wait here for a second, and we will." Somebody will return shortly, and sure enough, shortly thereafter, somebody else comes in, and he introduces himself as the Herald, and he says, "The Queen has graciously agreed to grant you a brief audience. Please follow me," and he leads you into a small chamber. When you walk in, Queen Sophia is there. You've not seen her before, but you've heard descriptions of her, and you've seen drawings of her. So she's easy to kind of pick out. She's very regal. She's surrounded by some men and women who are talking to you, and when you enter, she says, "Hello, I am Queen Sophia. We hear that you have come from Count Louis. What brings you to Valhellion? It's quite a distance over the mountains."
Yes, and so out of character, can we just review the instructions that the Count gave?
Okay.
That he expects us to accomplish.
Okay, so your instruction was, you need to do something to put an end to the spying that is going on, and the Count definitely has this idea that it's not simply one newspaper in Valhellion, but that the throne is behind this kind of spy effort, and even if it wasn't directly behind that spying, that certainly Queen Sophia should be able to put a stop to it. And Louis Auguste wants this put to an end, and he wants you to be very forceful with making whatever it takes, make threats, be sure to communicate his anger at what has been going on with these secrets of his theatrical spectacle that he's been experimenting with, and it hasn't been kind of publicly revealed yet, but here Valhellion is now churning out some stories where clearly somebody in the city is getting this inside information. So he wants threats. He wants a very kind of strong position taken, and wants the Queen to know in no uncertain terms that he is angry about this, and that if she doesn't put a stop to it, that his fury will be unleashed. And then the mission for BuPu is that he wants BuPu to find some beautiful athletes in Valhellion and bring them back to him to kind of participate in his somewhat dangerous theatrical spectacle.
Okay. Yeah, so I think Hal, kind of bows to the queen and says, it's a pleasure to get to see the beautiful land of Valhellion. But what brings us here is a concern about what the people of Valhellion have been learning about Malfonia. There seems to be some sort of unauthorized intelligence gathering going on that is being spread around your country, and it's been very prejudicial to the interests of the Count. And so we would like to encourage you to think about the consequences of this and the potential backlash that might occur if this type of espionage were to continue from your end.
And I think while Handsome Hal is saying that, BuPu like leans over to Ekek and whispers, like, BuPu and Ekek, different mission with strong men to bring. Here with Queen, BuPu think, from the tree of silence we harvest the fruit of tranquility.
Yes, Ekek not speak here.
BuPu
Good
too.
advice, BuPu.
Okay, and the Queen says, Queen Sophia says, well, I can assure you that I personally am not responsible for this, as you term it, espionage. I have read with some amusement these stories. They're not really damaging. They're more just kind of entertainment, amusement. I mean, that we're not talking about military secrets. And I'm not behind it. And, in Valhellion, we do have a free press. And, I mean, are you disputing the accuracy of the stories? I mean, the reporters of our press here is, the reporters are held to the highest standard. I don't know that they're really printing anything that is libelous or injurious or false, are they?
So I want to have Hal try to kind of use his beautiful charisma to get her to see the other side of this story.
Okay.
So is that something that I should roll for, or?
Yeah, we could take that as villainy against an NPC opponent.
Yeah.
So
I think I'm.
Okay, so this is going to be your fear plus self-loathing.
Okay. So that's 10.
And then I'm rolling 4, which is just my reason. Okay, so you okay, and you win this, which means that your self-loathing will go up by 1, correct? Yeah, so your self-loathing is going to increase. What is your?
Okay, it's at max right now.
Okay. So we're gonna get this would trigger it. It's not going to increase, but it's going to do the horror revealed. Is that right? Right. When it says, if a roll would ever result in a minion's self-loathing growing greater than love plus reason, a revelation of horror and consequences in the environment is triggered instead.
Okay.
Okay. So what we'll do is let's finish playing out this scene first. So what is Hal going to do to convince Queen Sophia to do something about this problem?
So I think that he's going to get up very close to her, where she can see just how like gorgeous he really is, and not like offer her a quid pro quo kind of thing, but that kind of thing where it kind of implies that you'll be on my good side and you'll like get to see me around and feel good about yourself for being having the favor of someone who is so good looking, kind of flirtatiously hinting at her while he kind of explains that it may not be illegal within Valhellion to print these kinds of things, but it's not very kind to have people obtaining information illicitly just to spread it around for the entertainment of people in another country.
Okay. Are you, let me ask you, are you, because the instruction from Louis Auguste was to be very kind of strong, forceful, threatening. Are you gonna kind of give her any threats? Or do you, I mean, you can also try to resist.
I'm trying to figure out how to be threatening when I can't show anger. Correct. or those kind of things. So I don't know that I can threaten her in a direct. That's kind of why I was trying to set up the good cop, bad cop thing with Ekek, because I can't really like threaten her directly, because that would go against my my less than human kind of limitation there.
Okay, well, let's do this. Why don't we go on and first of all see if you're able to resist that part of the, because
the order.
There is a chance that you could resist it, and then it may be a non-issue. Okay, and so for that, I'm going to roll the fear plus the self-loathing. What is your self-loathing right now?
Is 6.
Okay, so I'm going to roll 10, and you're going to roll love minus weariness. What is your weariness right now?
Is 0.
Okay, so you're going to roll
2.
Okay, so you're going to roll 2. Yeah, so I'll roll 10. Oh wait, I didn't mean roll the wrong side. Just 1 second here.
Well, I've got a total of 1.
Okay.
So I got a 1 and a 4.
Okay, so you're not able to resist that. So you will need to do something that would kind of give that would give some type of threat or more direct challenge than just. And once you do that, then you can at that point then after you do that once you don't have to follow the direct order anymore, right? Once you make the roll. But I mean, what would you say or what would you do to try to kind of make her take this serious, or serious in a sense that okay, if you don't do this, right, something, there might be military action, or something.
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess if my limitation is just the emotional state that I can convey,
Mm-hmm.
I can still list off the threats just with a smile on my face. And
then you sweet talk her after.
Yeah. So, well, yeah, because the information that was getting spread around was about the deaths of the trapeze artists.
Right.
So I can suggest that she and the people of Valhellion in general would surely not want to end up in a similar state to those trapeze artists, and that the more that they try to learn about what the Count is up to, the more they might learn about things that they would prefer not to experience for themselves.
Yes.
I can deliver all that with a smile on my face.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think the way this plays out then is that Queen Sophia says, "Oh, how we have heard threats after threats after threats of made by Louis Auguste. You don't need to, go down that same tired track again of, suggesting that there's going to be some type of awful, evil thing that Louis Auguste will unleash against us." He rattles his saber quite a bit, but we all know that hardly anything comes of it. And I honestly, I don't understand why Auguste gets so uptight and concerned about the types of things he does. But I tell you what, I like you. I think you're trying to be honest and upfront with me, putting aside all of that saber rattling business. I will check into this. I will try to see what's going on with our press, and what is driving them to be so interested in this story. But what I would say, Hal, is this is not really a big deal. I mean, in Valhellion, honestly, and she takes you aside a little bit to speak to you privately and says, honestly, in Valhellion, Louis is more of an amusement and a joke than he is somebody that people really take seriously. I think it's quite possible that what is behind these stories is that maybe people in our newspaper just think that this is another, way to irritate the good Count. And I really don't think that it's necessary to get all uptight and wound up about this. But I promise you, I will do some investigating about this. As I say, I'm not directly responsible myself for it, but I will make some inquiries and see if there's something kind of more evil or insidious that's going on with this.
And so I think Hal, he says, I hope that after our show goes on, that people will see that the Count is not a joke, but a true artist. But in any case, I greatly appreciate your help with resolving this matter that does matter a lot to us. And he takes the queen's hand and kisses the back of it.
Okay.
And then,
do you also? I mean, I was going to say, especially with that action, do you want to put the queen down as a connection? And
sure. Yeah. Why don't we do that?
Okay, and so you can roll for making an overture.
Okay, and so that formula on that was reason minus self-loathing. Okay. So that's the one that comes out to 1 because my self-loathing is
right, and mine will be 1 as well. So it's going to be 1 versus 1.
Okay. I got a 1.
Okay, and you win, right?
Oh,
I rolled a
wow. Because you rolled a 4, which is a 0. Yeah,
it's a 0, right? So
okay, that's the first time I've done that.
and actually, thinking about it, I think I would have also given you the intimacy dice as well, right? I mean, you've taken her hand and kissed the back of her hand, so that that would be. We should try to remember that. So you are successful here. So you're
okay. So I get 1 love.
Get a point of love, and when you kiss the back of her hand, she bows very, very graciously to you and says, Hal, you're surprising to me. A lot of people in Valhellion have the impression that all of the inhabitants of Malvonia take after Louis Auguste, but I can see that that's not necessarily the case, that some of you actually have grace and charm, maybe not obvious at first sight, but underneath the layers, that there is some kind of graciousness and charm that exists in Malvonia.
Thank you.
Okay, and so
what were we supposed to do the horror revealed thing too? I know that came up earlier in the conversation, since at one point my self-loathing was going to exceed the limit.
Yeah, and that's a kind of strange one. So why don't we do this? We'll go to BuPu and Ekek now, and you can kind of think about that, because that could involve Hal, but it doesn't have to. I mean, it could be.
Yeah, I mean, I have an idea of what it could be.
Okay. Do you want to do it now, or do you want to? I mean, we could circle.
Sure. Yeah, I can do it now.
Okay.
Because I think that after we leave the audience, and with the queen, there are the various courtiers and guards and stuff that were around, and I think we see a montage of them having been just so stunned by Hal's beauty that their own love lives are falling apart. So we see, some of them, like, later on, they're hanging out and somebody walks by that, you would think would be a real head turner, and they just totally ignore this person. You see another person, like, leaving their spouse because they can't find them attractive anymore, and people going to bed with their partner, but fully clothed, because why even bother? And so the love lives of all the people that actually saw Hal make his move on the queen are just in a shambles now.
Okay. All right. Very, very good. All right. So after BuPu, your mission I don't think exists in front of the queen necessarily. So we could bring, this audience with the queen comes to an end, and why don't you tell us what you want to do after you all leave the queen?
Where are we taking? Like, are we gonna stay overnight at her castle, or are we like?
Yeah, I think she would, being, I mean, she's a very kind of proper, dignified queen. And even if she doesn't like Louis Auguste, she would still kind of offer, you know, she would offer, some place for you all to sleep within the castle, just being, I mean, kind of considering you as kind of diplomats from Louis Auguste.
Okay, so I think BuPu at least sort of remains her silence as we're taken to that place. And then once it seems like the guards or whoever it is who've taken us have like wandered off, is gonna try to find Ekek.
Okay.
And possibly Hal as well. I don't know. Like, are we all close together? Would it be easy to just like be like regroup for a meeting?
Yeah. No, I think you would get kind of rooms in the same part of the castle. I think Ekek, you at this point would be somewhat inebriated. So you're smelling okay, but you're
yeah. Can I make a request for a scene? I'm thinking it could be interesting to have like some kind of a buddy scene with Ekek and BuPu. And I mean, it looks like we're running close to time. Maybe we don't have a whole lot of time left, but it would be cool if we could hit something where there was like maybe some new connection in Valhellia, since I don't know that we have any here otherwise. But just like someone that maybe you could help us frame a scene where BuPu and Ekek get to make an overture to someone. Or maybe I don't know who, maybe we actually, I don't know that we were specific about where Orlain or Rosalind lived. Is it possible one of them is actually from Valhellia?
who are these? Orlain?
Well, I guess. Oh, those are our contacts. So Orlain is the Count's illegitimate son.
Oh, right.
Although maybe I don't know. Or we can make up a new NPC. I was just thinking that would be nice to try and come up with something where we can make another overture to an NPC. As long as we're in Valhellia, it seems reasonable there should be someone else here.
Yeah,
for us to interact with.
We could do this. I have, because BuPu, you were ordered to try to find some beautiful athletes that you would recruit or somehow bring to back to Malvonia. I was imagining that Valhellion prides itself on the health of its citizens, and that would be both the mental health as well as the moral health and the physical health of its people. And in terms of the athletics, that they would have facilities there that would be kind of giving the citizens an opportunity to kind of to train, and especially those who are more kind of athletically inclined, it gives them a kind of a trainer and kind of facilities there. And I would imagine that that would be, I think that this is a reputation that Valhellion has, right? That it is a place that kind of takes the various types of health of its citizens seriously, and has kind of good facilities kind of set up and institutions kind of set up to ensure that. We could set up a scene with BuPu and Ekek at a kind of place where, you know, maybe it's a kind of a lawn where, you know, various kinds of sports and games are taking place. And, you know, there would be somebody who would be kind of in charge of what's going on there. We'll call this person who's kind of I guess a trainer, supervisor type. We'll call him somebody named Brusco. Okay.
So do Ekek and I like strategize at all before going in, or are we already just in?
You can strategize, I think, on the way.
Okay.
How about we maybe jump right to something like an overture? Maybe like BuPu notices something and is like quick-witted and points out like that there's some kind of trouble, and then like with Ekek's help, they're able to like, you know, maybe I don't know, maybe for example, there's like some, I don't know if you have some idea, but maybe there's like a child that needs to be saved or whatever, and BuPu like runs around and it's like, that child needs to be saved. I don't know. I'm just throwing out ideas. Like,
how about this? How about this? How about a scene where you kind of arrive at this athletic field? I don't know what kinds of games they are playing there. I mean, it may be soccer type games, maybe a variety of different types of athletic, you know, games are going on. Maybe some kind of track and field events. And what about? I was thinking of something where you all notice something that is unsafe, because this would kind of connect back to the trapeze that was unsafe, but where people were kind of pushed to continue to, you know, perform despite that kind of unsafe condition. So, you know, you could imagine maybe a, I mean, okay, here would be one thing. Maybe on the field they have some gymnastics equipment that is set up. And BuPu or Ekek notices that the uneven parallel bars, that there's a cable that has been loosened.
Yeah, I think since BuPu is like her main function, at least in her mind, is to sort of scout things out, that maybe she has gone ahead and she sees this and she sees someone about to go on it, and she like runs back to Ekek to say like, it's the same as it was in our gym before name of NPC character here got hurt. Will that work?
Yeah.
Okay. So assuming that bit of it has happened, so then Ekek, use strong wings, fly and save. Will be grateful to us and not hurt.
Okay. And Ekek sees it and flies over, and I'm imagining that like maybe like one of the cable lines is pulling free, and at the last minute like Ekek is able to like grab it and kind of hold it steadily and keep the structure from like falling or something like this.
Yeah, and somebody is currently on that on those bars, and I think, you know, gets distracted, right? When Ekek flies in, they would be like, you know, they would stop what they are doing to see, and I think somewhat frightened initially. I mean, first of all, confused as to like what is going on here, and then they see Ekek's form, and it's like, what in the world is this creature doing? And why don't we go on and we'll make the overture roll.
Okay. Should I take an extra die because BuPu is helping?
Yes. Well, so the aid, love minus weariness in dice. So BuPu, you have how many love at this point?
2.
2. And what is your weariness?
It is 2. So I guess I have nothing.
And I think I would interpret this to mean 1, because it always, you know, whenever anything goes to 0 or negative, it still goes to 1. So you'd get 1 for that, and then you'd also get. What is your self-loathing?
Pretty high. It's 5.
Okay. So reason minus self-loathing will be 1, right? Because you always get 1, and you'll get 1 for the aid because BuPu was kind of tipping you off and kind of encouraging you to spring into action.
Yeah.
Would any of the special dice come into play, like the sincerity or something?
It could, I mean, depending on how.
On my part, at least, like in not wanting the person to get hurt, and in thinking maybe we could like win someone over without being unkind or letting anyone get hurt. And
Maybe,
also in reminding BuPu that she thinks his wings are beautiful and strong and he could help.
Yeah, this is hard because BuPu's the one doing the provide aid, and so that die goes to Ekek. I mean, is there something that Ekek could do to show? I don't know that intimacy would be involved here, but possibly desperation or sincerity would be. I think part of what I mean, I think your overture is to this person who's just kind of come off the bar and is kind of looking at you right now with a certain level of horror because they weren't aware that the cable was loose, and they've seen this kind of, I don't know, they might consider it a demonic figure that's just kind of swooped in, and it's like, okay, is this a threat to me?
maybe what if the intimacy is more like BuPu is also aiding by like going over and like reassuring this person, and like while Ekek is holding it, like BuPu is like helping them down or something. Maybe BuPu is even going up to them and being like, "You should come down. That's dangerous."
Right. And okay. Yeah. So that makes sense that, yeah, BuPu kind of then also appearing there and kind of reaching out and showing some physical closeness to the person. BuPu, I would also imagine that you've seen other people react to Ekek, right? I mean, you kind of know.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe I can like let them know that Ekek is helping and is good.
Right. So okay, so that
do we want to do? I mean, it'd be nice if we could each get something from this. Would we want to make 2 rolls then for each of us to get 1 love? Like maybe there's a roll to see how people interpret Ekek, which we could just do with 2 dice, 1 for Ekek and 1 for helping, and then BuPu could roll with like, I don't know how, with like a bonus intimacy dice, because BuPu is going to be like probably talking to people directly.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll do this. Maybe we'll put 2 people on the scene there. There's the athlete who was on the bar that BuPu is now kind of has approached and is kind of making sure that athlete is okay and assuring them. And then maybe there is the trainer as well who would be more kind of in tune with like how all this rigging and the cabling and stuff would be set up. That could be where Ekek would be directing his overture. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'm going to go ahead and make my roll. I'm just going to roll 2 dice, and then the trainer would get
1. He's going to get 1.
Just 1 dice? Okay. Yeah. That's fear minus reason. Oh, yeah. So that's always 0. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm going to clear that. For me.
That was good.
That's good. So that works out.
Yep. I got a 3. But yeah, so you know, the trainer, whose name is Brusco, he's taken aback seeing you fly in, but when he sees you kind of you know, holding that cabling and kind of clearly sees that it's loose, you know, you see his hands go to his head, and it says, I didn't see that. I mean, I always check this every day, and the safety of this equipment is so important. And you know, so he's kind of impressed that he still doesn't know who you are, but you know, certainly is thankful that right, this kind of cabling that had come loose has been attended to. And BuPu, let's go on and get your role with the athlete.
Okay, what am I rolling again?
So you've got an intimacy coming, and you have what is your reason minus self-loathing?
So let's see, reasons at 4, self-loathing, so 3. So
Okay.
it's 4 total, is that right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, I get a total of 4 because I got 2 multiple 4s.
Yeah, but I'm only rolling 1, so yeah, so you both pick up a love. So we have Brusco is the name of the trainer that Ekek has impressed, and let's say that the name of the athlete is Narella. Narella. Okay. And you know, I think Narella would pick up on, right, the fact that Brusco is there with Ekek, you know, pointing to the kind of unsafe condition. And you know, Narella is you know, puts her arm around you and is kind of breathing a sigh of relief, kind of realizing that, oh, okay, I was, you know, danger has been overcome. My name is Narella. I'm thankful to you for making sure that I was taken care of. What is your name?
BuPu.
BuPu.
Yes, BuPu.
I'm not familiar with you. Are you from here?
We are from far away, visiting. Beautiful place.
Yeah, I can, you know, and she looks over at Ekek and says, yeah, looking at your companion there, are there more like him from where you come from?
No, Ekek is special. Ekek, very strong. Ekek, fly. Only one. Ekek. Only one BuPu. Narella. You fly. Use bars. Yes?
Yes, yeah, so Narella is she's athletic. She's looks like maybe around 20 years old. And she says, yeah, so from a very young age, I've been interested in sports, especially the gymnastics. You know, we have a really good gymnastics program here. So yeah, it gives me great satisfaction. And I think I was just thinking this might be a good time because I think we'll want next week to take up with the same scene because, you know, this is also going to be BuPu's opportunity to perhaps try to convince some athletes to go back over to Malvonia if that's what she wants to do. How does that sound?
Yeah, I mean, I think BuPu like will probably try to resist. I think the more BuPu like is meeting people and talking to Ekek and whatever else, the more she like doesn't really want to turn people over to the master. She wants people to be able to like be beautiful and fly. Like she's sort of given up on herself, but like
Yeah.
she hasn't been sent on a bunch of foreign missions before. Now that she's seeing all these other places, she doesn't want to like subjugate anyone. So I think she's probably going to try to resist ultimately.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure exactly how she wants to do that. Like if she were going to fulfill the masters, whatever, she would probably, I'm thinking, try to like convince Norella like to talk with Ekek because Ekek is the one who flies. But if she doesn't want to take them, I don't know what she does. Maybe she wants to talk to Ekek, actually, is my guess, and say like some, very cave woman like version of like, I think maybe we're doing the wrong thing. And
yeah, and let's for right now let's hold off on the roll. But I think that's how we'll kind of springboard things next week. Then is we'll roll that resistance formula and see how that turns out, and then BuPu can take it from there.
Okay.
We're just a few minutes over time. Could we just go around real quick just to do a quick little stars and wishes reactions? Is that okay? And if so, okay, Walter, why don't we start with you?
Okay, yeah. Are we gonna do both stars and wishes or two circles? Okay, so my big star. I mean, well, I've got a couple stars, but my favorite scene was when Hal was the terror revealed for Hal and the montage of ruining everybody's love life. That was hilarious. That was so good. I did not see that coming. That was awesome. So thank you, Stentor, for that. And I think stars to everybody, especially to Robbie for getting so many cool scenes in. Like I feel like this session we like really got a hang of the mechanics, and we like really put them through their paces, and like saw the like it feels like we're seeing the end game approach now. So that's super cool. I feel like I've gotten a really good handle of like the core mechanics of this game. So and we did a lot of fun scenes. I feel like it all played in together. So bravo for all that. My wish is that we can either actually get to the end game, or at some point to next session, like just like fudge and pretend that we made it to the end game. And because I'd like to see that mechanic too before we finish that session. That'd be my wish.
Okay. Yeah, and I've also I've been reading a kind of accompanying GM advice, not written by Paul Zega, but somebody else who's run the game a lot, and he talks about actually running this at a convention, which seems kind of like, how would you ever do this at a convention in just a one shot? But he has with that ways of trying to kind of move things along so you actually kind of speed up the end game. So I'm going to review that again next week a little bit more, just to kind of make sure, because I think you're right. I mean, we definitely want to try to get that end game sequence triggered next week. Stentor, how about you?
I think my star is for the interaction where Hal was trying to get BuPu and Ekek to be part of this whole good cop, bad cop routine. Because I think it really revealed that the two of them are much more self-aware than Hal is. I think they kind of get like what kind of situation they're in, and like that they're more than just like the monsters that they look like. Whereas I think Hal hasn't quite seen through it all yet. He's a little slower on the path towards getting out from under the master's thumb. So that was a nice kind of illustration of that in that scene. And yeah, my wish is just that we can drive it home next time and get to see how this game ends.
Yeah. Okay. Pearl, how about you?
I also liked the terror being that no one could hold on to their spouses. I thought that was very funny. But I also just liked Hal's scene with the queen before that. Sort of having to, like, his strength is not in being intimidating. So, like, finding that finessing it thing. I was really glad to see more interactions between the PCs in this session, and would love for that to continue in next session. I'm like weirdly out of it today, so I'm usually like the longest stars and wishes person, and today I think I'm not, but it was very enjoyable and I love everyone's characters. So everything everyone else said.
Yeah, and just to add another star to the list, Pearl, I was glad that we got that scene with Tomas. I mean, it took me a while, a lot of times in the messaging that I don't necessarily pick up, because partly, I mean, I just like that scene, but then also that scene is directly now playing into the scene that we ended with, and BuPu kind of realizing what has happened to Tomas and thinking, okay, I'm being sent on a mission that is going to put another person in a position like Tomas. And right, that scene, like, which kind of revealed that, okay, Tomas, right, BuPu was confronted with, right, the fact that, okay, I've indirectly led this person into a really bad spot, and now you've been sent on a mission to do the same type of thing, which, so I like some of the conflict type things that are kind of developing within the characters as a result of some of these earlier encounters, which is, and so that an actual desire, like, okay, I've got to try to resist this order of the master, because I've seen the kind of cost that this type of thing will have if I'm not able to resist it, or at least potentially the cost that it will lead to if I don't resist it. But yeah, I'm enjoying this, and I feel like this is a game where the mechanics are a little unusual. You have all these formulas that you're kind of working with, but I'm glad to see that everybody's kind of like picking up on that. And I like also the fact that we're all kind of participating in kind of framing up some scenes, right, kind of to drive things forward. And but the other thing is that the game definitely has this kind of narrative arc idea in mind, with some type of end game that gets triggered. So, I'm definitely going to be kind of studying up a little bit on that, and fingers crossed, we'll hopefully kind of get things so that, we'll get a kind of satisfactory, hopefully dramatic end to our session next week. Okay. But thank you all very much for continuing on with the journey, and I'll plan on returning with the show same time next week.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thanks, Robbie.
Have a good week.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.